Good afternoon and welcome to Nutmeg Sports on the HAN Network. Frank Granito, Kevin Coleman, and Eric Gendron directing here on Monday, April 24th. A busy week for the HAN Network coming up for the spring season. We've got 6 broadcasts for you this week, a rematch of a couple of championship games, 3 of them for you this weekend. It's going to be a lot of fun, Kev.
Saturday's looking like it's going to be a great matchup. We got the doubleheader between Darien and New Canaan in boys and girls lax. And of course, today we got a good baseball game. We got Darien at Stanford. So that's going to be a fun one to kind of kick off the week.
Girls and boys rematches in championships for lacrosse on Saturday. Eric, we've got a championship rematch in volleyball on Friday. That's one of the more underrated games we're going to have all spring.
Yeah, absolutely. Really looking forward to that one. And, I think we really got a good taste of that Ridgefield team, and it's a matchup every year that everyone in the volleyball world in Connecticut, anyways, is really looking forward to. Ridgefield and Darien, always 2 teams that really match up well.
And we'll get to see Staples girls lacrosse for the first time this spring. That's on Tuesday. They play against New Canaan. Then the boys take on the Rams Wednesday afternoon. Just a full-packed week, and we've got great matchups from start to finish. But before we get to all those matchups, we've got Athlete of the Week business to attend to. Let's start with our Week 1 winners. Congratulations to Billy Black of the Wilton baseball team and Genevieve DeWinter of the Greenwich girls lacrosse team. Black hurled a complete game 3-hit shutout as the Wilton baseball team opened the season with a 1-0 win over West Hill. The young man struck out 9 batters in that masterful performance. Genevieve DeWinter, she scored 5 goals for the Redbirds in their 12-9 victory over Fairfield Ward in a rematch of last season's state semifinals. Cardinals able to avenge that overtime loss from last year. They improved to 3-0 on the season. Great performances turned in by all of our nominees, but congratulations to Billy Black and Genevieve DeWinter. They are the Week 1 HAN Network Athletes of the Week for the spring season. As we now turn our attention to Week 2, we will start, as always, with the female nominees. And for those, we go over to Kevin Coleman.
Thank you, Frank. Starting things off, we have Dina de Blasio from Norwalk Softball. De Blasio hit a home run, doubled, and drove in 4 runs for the Bears as they defeated Trinity Catholic 15-11. De Blasio also had a single and scored 4 runs. Up next is Gabby Lacona from West Hills Softball. Lacona belted 2 home runs in the 7th inning, including a walk-off grand slam as the Vikings rallied to defeat Norwalk 12-10. Last Monday, Lacona had 7 RBIs in the inning, and West Hill scored 10 runs in the final frame to get the win. The Vikings improved to 5-1 overall and 4-0 in the FCIAC. Up next is Emma Jacques from Darien Girls Lacrosse. Jacques poured in a game-high 6 goals in the Blue Waves' 12-4 victory over Bay Point Blueport on Saturday. Jacques, a junior, she added an assist to finish with 7 points, helping Darien improve to 6-2 overall and 4-0 in the FCIAC. Up next is Tori Kuskuna from Stanford Softball. Kuskuna drove in 3 runs as Stanford topped New Canaan 4-1 in a meeting of 2 of the FCIAC's best teams. Kuskuna RBI single in the 3rd inning gave the Black Knights a 1-0 lead, and she added a 2-run double off the center field fence in the 8th inning. And last but not least is Rebecca Wiestreek from Wilton Lacrosse. The senior tallied 6 points on 4 goals and 2 assists, plus 4 draw controls in the Wilton's 14-6 win over defending state runner-up Fairfield Ward last Thursday. And for the Athlete of the Week nominees for the boys' side, we'll go over to Frank.
Thank you, Kevin. And we start with the Greenwich High baseball team's Connor Langen, who pitched 6 innings of 3-hit balls, striking out 8 Falcons and surrendering only 1 run in the Cardinals' 8-1 victory over Ludlow. The senior Langen also added a 2 RBI double from the plate. Next up is Kevin Lindley of the Darien boys lacrosse team, who scored 6 points, 5 of them coming from goals, adding an assist as well as the Blue Wave rolled over Fairfield Ward 18-4. Isaac Keene of the Norwalk baseball team's up next, who threw a no-hitter at Trinity Catholic this past week. Only walked 2 and he struck out 9, 7-0 shutout win. Congrats on the no-hitter, Isaac. Great accomplishment there. The Bears now 6-3, 4-1 in the conference. Blake Newcomer of West Hills baseball team threw a 2-hit shutout as the Vikings defeated Danbury 2-0 on Wednesday. Newcomer did not walk a single hatter. He struck out 3 and allowed only 2 singles on the way to that shutout win. West Hill's now 6-2, 4-1 in the FCIAC. And finally, it's Connor Looney of the Ridgefield golf team. Looney shot a 3 under par 32 on the front 9 at Silver Spring Country Club to lead Ridgefield past Fairfield Prep 149 to 158. Looney birdied the 3 opening holes and then parred the next 6, setting a Ridgefield record for the lowest score in a 9-hole match. So those are your 10 nominees for Week 2 Athlete of the Week. Some impressive performances. You've got a no-hitter on there, a new program record on the golf course, but Gabby Lacona won a winter week for Athlete League. I got 2 home runs and 7 RBIs plus a walk-off grand slam, all in the last inning. Eric, that's going to be tough to beat.
That might be the stat line of the year. That might be the stat line of the year there. I mean, that's unbelievable. That would make, I believe that's John Heyman who does those crazy stat lines. That is unbelievable. 2 home runs in an inning. Not many people do that. And then a walk-off grand slam. That is something she's going to remember for the rest of her life.
What a win it was, too. 10 runs in the final inning for the Vikings. But yeah, just the performance from Lacona. Definitely worthy of a nominee, but don't sleep on some of these other girls. It's going to be an interesting week again. We had great numbers for the first week in the spring. We're looking forward to seeing everyone turn up and voting again in Week 2. Guys, let's take a break, but when we got back, there's plenty of action to cover from this past weekend. We got an update on the FCIAC standings through the first few weeks of the spring, and we'll preview this afternoon's game between Stanford and Darien. Baseball on the HAN Network. All that coming up next on Nutmeg Sports.
Part of banking well is doing good. That's why, with the support of local community partners, Bankwell has launched the Bankwell Pet Adoption Project to boost awareness about the hundreds of animals in local shelters that need a home. And when you donate to the cause using the Bankwell self-service coin machines, we'll match your donation. For details, visit mybankwell.com/pleaseadoptme. Bank smart, bank local, bank well.
It's the In-Sports Athletic Functional Movement Assessment Program.
A program that uses a camera, the same camera that you use with an Xbox video game.
What it involves is 3 phases. One is the initial test, which will give you a very objective and lengthy assessment of how you are moving and where there may be imbalances.
Once test gets the results from the assessment, we'll develop a customized program for the individual.
The objective really to try to get as many young athletes through this program as possible.
Have a sports injury or slip and fall that needs immediate care? Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care gives you direct access to an orthopedic specialist fast, without an appointment. Basketball, hockey, skiing, whatever the sports injury is, sprain or fracture, Coastal Ortho Express can help. Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care, open Monday through Saturday, now in 2 locations. The iPark Building at 761 Main Avenue in Norwalk and 36 Old Kings Highway South in Darien. Or go to coastalorthoexpress.com, like them on Facebook.
At the Milford Bank, we offer an extensive selection of lending products and services to meet virtually any need. Submit your application online in our mortgage web center. Start to finish, you can apply for a loan in as little as 10 minutes. Our knowledgeable and helpful staff are available to meet with you at your convenience. To learn more about what we can do for you, stop by one of our Milford Bank offices or visit us at milfordbank.com. The Milford Bank, always there. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
When it comes to considering the outside of your home, just imagine the possibilities. Whether your dream is a stunning freeform pool or a tranquil, secluded garden, the team of professionals at Stonebridge Associates will make it a reality. We offer unparalleled landscape design and construction, masonry development, pools, spas, and water features, as well as landscape and garden maintenance. No other firm can offer the same level of creativity, quality, and personal attention. Discover the possibilities at stonebridgeassociates.net or call 203-544-8376 today.
If you're watching this broadcast, you're not alone. The HAN Network is available for 200,000 Connecticut cable customers on the Frontier Network, and we've also reached more than 2 million viewers on our free live streaming sports, news, and entertainment broadcasts. To reach our rapidly growing audience, contact Advertising Director Jessica Murrin at 203-273-7312 or email jessica@han.network.
Back on Nutmeg Sports on the HAN Network. It is Monday, April 24th. And we'll go to the national level, but I'll spin it in a local way for you guys just quickly here. The New York Rangers closed out the Montreal Canadiens this past weekend. Max Pacioretty, who led the Habs in points and goals in the regular season, held to just a single assist in the 6-game series. I'll open this up to whoever wants to jump at it first. Is Pacioretty in a little bit of hot water up in Montreal right now?
I think he is. I think that's something that's been talked about during the week. The papers have been all over him, the media especially. You know, I think you have to give credit to the Rangers. They did a great job defensively because Pacioretty is an excellent hockey player. You know, he's an offensive threat, and to only hold him to an assist is very impressive. So, yes, I think he is under a lot of hot water up there in Montreal. But he needs to come out next season and prove it. And he actually really had a great season. Just the Rangers did a great job defensively, I thought.
35 goals, 67 points for him this season, to just put the numbers out there, Eric.
Yeah, I mean, obviously one of if not the best goal scorer for Montreal in there, and clearly New York's game plan was let's keep Pacioretty off the board, and if the rest of those guys beat us, so be it. And I think it worked. You know, I think he showed some of that frustration in that last game with that fight that he got into. But, well, you know, now that he's free, maybe we can get him on Nutmeg Sports, Frank.
Listen, it's very interesting. It's a unique case purely because he's playing in Montreal. He's the first ever American-born captain of the most storied franchise in all of hockey, arguably one of the most storied franchises in sports when you think about their influence up in Canada and on the game of hockey. So there's that added pressure there. The expectation for that organization is always going to be a Stanley Cup. They've won 24 of them. There's no settling for making the playoffs. They ran into Henrik Lundqvist, who was playing like he was the best goalie in the world again. So it's a tough toss-up, but I just think you saw them trade PK Subban last year to bring back Shea Weber, who's from the area of Montreal originally. I don't know they're ready to give up on Pacioretty yet, but there's got to be some concerns and some questions going on amongst at least local press right now in Montreal about whether or not he's a good fit for them to be successful long term.
Certainly, and I think that's why next season he has to come out and prove that this is why he's the captain of the Canadiens. And you're right, a storied franchise like this, first American-born captain, he has to come out and prove something. You know, he has to work hard during the offseason, get this team back. This is a team that expects to be in the playoffs every year. Like you said, Frank, they expect to be in the Stanley Cup final every season. This is a storied franchise. So they will make the playoffs next year. They're not going to lose much. Still, they have Carey Price, who's by far one or two right now ranked as one of the best goalies in the NHL. So they'll be back, but Pacioretty has to have a good playoff next year.
But every year that goes by, more and more pressure, because it's now been 25 years since the Canadiens won their last Stanley Cup. I mean, this is pretty much the Yankees of the NHL. So, you know, understandably, you know, how crazy they are about the hockey, that they're going to put pressure on Pacioretty. But as a Bruins fan, I'm totally fine with the Rangers.
There you go. And tough break for the Bruins this weekend. I think you actually
that was pretty rough.
I think the Yankees are actually the Canadians of the MLB, but we'll leave that debate for another day. And really the big thing is, though, Max has been phenomenal in the regular season. It's going to be a matter of next April what happens there. And honestly, Eric, you know, maybe I'm just throwing fuel on this fire because I think he should be wearing a different red, white, and blue jersey, and maybe it's time for Max to come back home.
Oh, how great would that be? You know,
I'm telling you right now, if you get Max,
he can sleep over your house.
You get Max to come back home, and then we can get Cam Atkinson out of Columbus. Let's be honest, Cam loves torching the Garden. He scores at least a goal a game when he plays there. The guy could be scoring 45, 50 goals a year in a Rangers jersey. Maybe we add Kevin Shattenkirk as well as an unrestricted free agent this summer. Could be a lot of homegrown talent for the Rangers, but
there's the Islanders too. You know, wouldn't they love to play with the Islanders?
Need a city to play in first. No one
that is true.
They don't even know where they're playing yet. But listen, you guys know I'm a huge hockey fan. I don't think there's anything better in the world than the NHL postseason. Bittersweet being a Rangers fan, seeing them advance, but watching Max struggle, it was tough. And you're right, the frustrations were obvious. He was a much better player than he showed up in this tournament, but give a lot of credit to the Rangers defense shutting him down, because that was a main point of focus in the team strategy.
And I think for the Rangers' sake, you know, I think defensively that was the big question mark. Am I right? You know, Lundqvist didn't have the year that he wanted during the regular season. He ran into some speed bumps, but boy, he always seems to get hot at the right time, and this is where he gets hot right now. During this first round of the playoffs, he can carry it into the next round against Ottawa. But boy, defensively, I thought McDonough was excellent, and I mean excellent again in this first round against the Canadians.
I wouldn't mind seeing Max maybe jump across the border now and go join the U.S. national team for the World Championships. But let's come back into the FCIAC. We'll look at some of the local scores from this weekend. I want to start with the Charlie Capalbo game that was played at Fairfield Ludlow on Saturday. This was the Charlie Strong game. They had the Charlie Wingman T-shirts being handed out. The Falcons jumped out to a great lead in this game. Such a hot start for them. Unfortunately, Greenwich comes back, puts a little bit of a damper on the day. Eric, let me start with you. A big picture of this day. I know the Falcons lose, but there have got to be a lot of positives, more positives, I think, than negatives that came out of what was accomplished on Saturday.
No, absolutely. I mean, of course you want to win the game, but I think there's, clearly, more at stake here, and it's all really about the message and sending the message to his family that all the support that the community has. And we got some great pictures here. This is why I'm not looking at you right now, but we got some great pictures here from Sean Saylor who took these at the Capalbo game. The signs and the bake sale that was going on, and lots of great support for Charlie. And obviously everyone's wishing him the best, and you want to win the game for your teammate, but that's winning the game is secondary really to the message you're sending and the cause you're raising the money for.
They dominated the first quarter to the Falcons. They were up to a 1-0 lead, but at the end of the day, Coach Parisi for Ludlow said today we were dedicated to doing something with respect for Charlie. We had a great start. It was a thrill for us, and I'm sure it was for Charlie too. So the game really just an underline to the actual story of Saturday, and it puts into perspective for all these student athletes of what the real world, what life is really like, and it's a tremendous kudos to the Ludlow community who has been able to just all jump around this cause and handle it so well.
Yeah, they handle it perfectly, I thought, and it's good to see Charlie, put a smile on his face, and I guarantee you that first start, I'm sure Ludlow had a little extra motivation to start that game, which is why they got off to that hot start. So, if you're Charlie, you gotta feel good about that his teammates got off to that great first start. Unfortunately, they came out with the loss, but I mean, at the end of the day, that result didn't really matter. It was all about Charlie. So, a great cause, and again, it was a great scene over there at Ludlow.
Looking at some of the other scores in the FCIAC this weekend, they did very well out of the conference. Let's start. St. Joe's beats Massac in 8 innings, 5-4 in softball. This is a big win for St. Joe's, Eric, just because we knew it was a rebuilding year. Losing Nicole Williams is tough enough, but they lose a couple of big players from that senior class last year who had so much success. They really righted the ship this weekend, I think, with this win. They can rally around it right now and hopefully turn it into a positive moving forward because they're trending down in the FCIAC, possibly going to be on the outside looking in at the playoff picture.
I mean, we had a feeling that St. Joe's was going to be a little bit down with the loss of Nicole Williams. I think it was a little shocking that they're this down. I mean, granted, they've won four in a row, so they have seemed to be riding the ship. I think they kind of had to rediscover their identity because so much of their identity was Nicole last year. So it's definitely a big positive step, and to be able to win in extra innings against Massac, and to kind of put the beat down on the teams that you're expected to put the beat down on, could be definitely a positive thing for a team that, like I said, is kind of trying to rediscover who they are.
A big growing experience and just that learning experience in the win. Stanford is currently atop the FCIAC. They're tied with Darien in the conference. Both are 5-0, but the Black Knights are 9-0 on the season. They'll be playing this afternoon. We'll keep you updated on that game as we go through baseball between the Black Knights and Darien. West Hill still undefeated in the conference. They're 4-0. Ludlow and Norwalk, both 4-1. Good stories. Norwalk is 8-1 on the year, so very competitive in softball right now. And it's good to see how balanced it is, too. I think you're going to have a lot of fun with the FCIAC postseason, and it's going to be another one of those anyone can knock anyone off versus last year where it was St. Joe's and who was going to be able to sort of keep up with them.
Right, and I think, if you think about it, I think Stanford is the team right now, and Darien, who sit undefeated right now in the FCIAC. Those are the two teams that you look out for. But how about West Hill? They're still there. They're floating around, and I think that's a team you got to look out for as well, especially with Lacona, a great team as well. So West Hill is another team to look out for. But you're right, it's a wide open conference. I think once we get to postseason time, there's going to be those teams who just sneak in. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Darien and New Canaan, both boys and girls, took care of business this weekend, so they continue on for their crash course for Saturday in lacrosse. Girls lacrosse, New Canaan took care of business over, that was Greenwich. Darien went out of state, played Bayport, Blue Point. This was their first win out of conference in a couple tries now. They had lost 2 in a row. And boys, this might have been the most impressive win of the weekend for me, Eric. I did not give New Canaan much of a chance against Fairfield Prep. I just felt they had been struggling a little bit against some of the top teams, but a huge 12-10 win. Ryan O'Connell with 5 points really stepped up and carried the weight this weekend.
Yeah, one of those classic matchups, between every time the Rams and the Jesuits get together. That's always a fun time. And yeah, you're right. That's a nice boost for New Canaan heading into a big week, especially with the looming matchup we will have live on the HA Network on Saturday against their arch rival Darien. Don't know if it's going to be enough to be able to match up against the Blue Wave. But
well, even before that, though, they got to play Staples on Wednesday.
Yeah.
And
which we will also have on the
That's right.
HA
We've got
Network.
that game as well. And I think that's an even bigger matchup than the one against Prep. You remember we did the game last year, New Canaan and Staples, and New Canaan escaped. I think this is the definition of escaped with a 7-4 win. Kyle Smith really had to step up down the stretch and pull that game away. I'm not a believer in the Rams yet, and I'm sorry to say that. I hate to say that to the town of New Canaan, but really until they start dominating games against Wiltons, against Greenwiches, against Staples, and they prove they belong with Darien, I'm just not a believer. Because you think about, we had Wilton and New Canaan, it was a 9-8 win. The Wave just cruised past Wilton, 11-4 on Saturday.
I mean, I think this game on Wednesday, to go to Staples and then, go if they play Staples and then to again play Darien 2 days later, 3 days later, oof, that's tough. If you think about it, maybe this game's on Monday, Tuesday, they have a little bit of a break, but you go right into it against Darien. Tough stretch this week for New Canaan. Staples is really going to give them a good run. I think that's going to be a really good game to think about. I think Staples, looked really good against Greenwich. This is going to be a good matchup for New Canaan. I think they have to be careful. But again, big win against Fairfield Prep to help boost their confidence. It's
a really big 7-day stretch for the Rams. There's no understating that, and they're going to know where they stand and what kind of a team they are by the end of this week. And again, it's New Canaan and Darien. You throw it all away. It's a rivalry game. They're going to settle it on the field. But the Rams the past few years just have not had the keys to success to figuring out Darien. So that's something to keep an eye on. But we're going to have a lot more on lacrosse later in the week. We're hoping to be joined by the Darien Blue Wave captains. Their win streak now up over 40 games dating back through the past 2 seasons. We hope they'll stop in with us Wednesday afternoon. Let's take one more break, guys. When we get back, though, we're going to shift gears, hit the diamond. Baseball preview for this afternoon. We'll update you on the standings, where the Rams are getting everything right now on the HAN Network.
Want a new experience in car buying? No aggravation, no confrontation, just answers to all your questions. Scap Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Car buying the way you want it to be. With one of the largest selections of new 2- and 4-door Jeep Wranglers available, we are Connecticut's Wrangler headquarters. Located in Fairfield, Connecticut, we're easy to get to. Just 2.5 miles off the Merritt Parkway, exit 44 via Route 58 South. Save thousands right now during the spring clearance event, now through April 30th.
At Budget Blinds, we're in business to frame the light, the day, and the night. So we give you an exclusive combination of high style, expert service, our no surprises pricing, and our no questions asked warranty. We believe that everyone, at every budget, deserves style and service. Isn't that a beautiful place to be?
You don't have to go far for authentic Neapolitan cuisine and renowned wood-fire pizza. Pizzeria Loretano of Bethel is a contemporary Italian bistro, specializing in authentic wood-fired brick oven pizza Napoletana. Pizzeria Loretano was named one of America's top 1,000 Italian restaurants in 2008 by Zagat, and recommended by Jane and Michael Stern on National Public Radio's Splendid Table. Located close to the Bethel Cinema, we focus on quality, and our food is always made to order. Join us for live jazz Sundays from 6 to 8. Find our schedule, menu, and more at pizzerialoretano.com and like us on Facebook.
The new fishing season is fast approaching, so it's time to head over to the dock shop and get your gear in order. We're now offering bait in both Darien and our Westport location. The dock shop can service and repair your rods and reels, spool up new line, and fill any empty space you might have in your tackle box. Whether you're a fisherman, boater, or beach bum, the dock shop is a unique place to shop. The dock shop, 51 Tokenique Road, Darien, 609 Riverside Avenue, Westport, dockshop.com.
Spring has sprung at Walter Stewart's Market, and we're celebrating the new season with fresh takes on spring. From the finest produce around to guaranteed fresh seafood delivered daily by the best local supplier. Not only are we your time-saving one-stop shop for everything you need this season, our personable team is always ready with a helping hand. Shop Stewart's for the best of spring. Find us at 229 Elm Street, New Canaan, or shop online at stewartsmarket.com.
La France de Charles Trenet, c'est la France de tous les Français.
We told Dad he could have his office back if he sold 150 cars last month.
Deal's a deal.
Well, Dad, you did it. You get your office back.
Forget it. I'm having too much fun down here. My new goal, 160 cars. Wow. Folks, if you ever wanted a great price on a new Nissan, now is the time.
Right now, lease a 2017 Altima 2.5S for only $99 a month.
Isn't it time you got Millerized?
I'm John Kovach. I'm a newspaper editor. I'm a high school football coach. I'm a television presenter. And I want you to love fishing as much as I do. Tune in to Yankee Fisherman, Thursdays at 1 on the HAN network. It's like going to the tackle shop without leaving your office. I'm John.
Back on the HAN network as we look over at the baseball diamond right now, and it's the New Canaan Rams who lead the pack 8-0 overall, 6-0 in the conference. They were trailing 2-0 against Trinity Catholic on Thursday last week before the Rams went off for 24 unanswered. They outscored Trinity and would win 24-2. Kev, I was wrong. I said I didn't think the Rams would surrender another run all season, but they came back pretty strong, and I didn't look as bad with that output there.
It was a rather lavish bet there, my friend. But no, New Canaan is playing excellent right now. You talk about great pitching, great defense too, and the timely hitting. This is a very strong New Canaan team who really could make a deep run in the playoffs. They're making a huge statement right now, a big comeback win against Trinity. Continue to roll on. This is a team that's streaking right now, so they're a hot team in the FCIAC. So to look at the other side, you got Darien, who's a little bit struggling. How about Trumbull? They're struggling as well. So New Canaan playing excellent baseball as well. You got Richfield up there as well.
We're going to take a look at the standings now. We start with the East Division. New Canaan, as we mentioned, the only remaining undefeated team, both in the conference and overall. Norwalk right behind them, 4-1, 6-3. Then you've got Darien, St. Joe's, Wilton, all with 2 losses. Now, the Darien team at 4-2 is very interesting because if you look at the West Division, Kevin, you will see Stanford sitting there 2-3. A win today gives the Black Knights the tiebreaker hold over Darien. Both of them right now sitting in that 7, 8, 9 position. So this is a very important game for 2 teams that are middle of the pack as well in Class LL. Up at the top, though, Ridgefield, Staples, West Hill, all rolling right now. And again, you mentioned Trumbull. We saw him last week against Darien, and you thought maybe that was going to be the game that got the Eagles going, but they cannot really picked up any momentum off that extra innings win. Eric, what's your early take on the conference as we're just about 2 weeks in, or 3 weeks in now through play?
It's very interesting. It's very interesting to see that we're seeing certain teams pull away. I'm not necessarily pull away, but just kind of a little bit of separation now. I mean, I think obviously New Canaan being the big surprise. I'm sorry, you're gonna
come back to me. I got you. I'm doing the same thing over here. No, you're right. I think we're seeing a lot of the teams we expected to be at the top. Obviously, New Canaan is a big surprise, and they're doing this without Captain Robbie Jones, who's going to play at UConn next year. He's a top prospect, but they expect to get him back this week, which has got to be scary for the rest of the conference, thinking they're going to add that kind of depth. We'll have New Canaan and Staples coming up early next month. We'll also have New Canaan and Ridgefield. We're going to have Ridgefield and Staples as well, so we'll get to see these top teams in the conference battling it out. We'll get a look at Norwalk soon when they play against McMahon. I don't think anyone expects the Rams to go undefeated, except for me. But, what do they have to keep doing, Kev? Because right now, pitching is working and the hitting is working.
Continue what they're doing. This is whatever they're doing right now. They need to keep doing it. Obviously, it's not easy to go undefeated. If they get a loss here or there, it's not the end of the world. Don't let that ruin your season. But this is a team that continues to play really well, and the fact that they haven't even had Robbie Jones yet is really scary. So when he comes back, that's just going to add a little bit more to that lineup. So a dangerous team New Canaan is, and again, if you look up and down, New Canaan, Ridgefield, Staples, and West Hill right now, and Norwalk even as well. Those teams could really get into that playoff run and make a deep run in the playoffs. But yeah, New Canaan, keep doing what they're doing.
Eric, focusing on this afternoon's game between Stanford and Darien, how important is this game for the Blue Wave? Because they lost on Friday to Danbury, which saw the Hatters pole vault over the Blue Wave in the standings now. Can they afford to lose 2 games to teams that they're fighting for these final few spots with?
No, absolutely not. They can't. I mean, that's a big loss to Danbury that they just suffered. After 2 wins against McMahon and Trinity, McMahon seems to be struggling quite a bit this year, and Trinity is as well, obviously, and then the 12-0 win over Bridgeport Central. So they kind of had 3 games in a row where kind of expected victories. So this is a team that is in the running for the playoffs, as this Stanford team, and this is a team that they should beat if they're going to continue to be at the top of the conversation for defending their FCIAC championship.
It'd be a huge win for the Black Knights too. They could really find themselves back in contention and almost putting themselves in the driver's seat to lock up a 6 or 7 spot for sure, possibly even higher up. We're running out of time here down the stretch. We're obviously back on just an hour and a half now when we are live at Stanford for baseball between Darien and the Stanford Black Knights. Final thoughts around the way. Let's start with you, Kevin.
I think today's matchup is really going to have a playoff feel, so I'm excited to see Darien and Stanford take on each other in baseball. It's really going to be a good matchup. It has that playoff feel, and really this whole week almost has a playoff feel to it. You talk about tomorrow with girls lacrosse, Wednesday, Staples, New Canaan, and then Friday, of course, Ridgefield, Darien, and Saturday is the big day, the doubleheader lacrosse with Darien, New Canaan. It's going to be almost like a playoff feel all this week, so I'm excited.
Eric.
Before I lost my ability to speak, I was about to say that New Canaan is averaging just under 11 runs a game. That's crazy. So I'm really excited to see the New Canaan Rams baseball team once we get to them, especially if they're adding a piece like Robbie Jones back. As far as today's game goes, it's going to be very telling to see how the bottom half of the playoff picture is going to shape out, and to see if Darien really can make that push to defend their FCIAC title.
Here's a stat for you guys to think about. We are 3 weeks away from the spring postseason.
Where did it go? Where did it go?
They say in baseball the Major League Baseball season is a marathon, not a sprint. In the spring season, the FCIAC is a sprint, not a marathon.
Yeah, the ongoing joke is for baseball, you can't win a pennant in April, but you can certainly lose one. You could win a pennant in April if you're an FCIAC team. It's crazy how fast it all happens, but we are just a month away from those first quarterfinal games for softball, baseball, boys, girls lacrosse. And you're going to see all of it right here on the HAN Network. We're off until tomorrow at 2, but we'll have a little pit stop for you. 4 o'clock this afternoon at Stanford High. the Black Knights and the Blue Wave in baseball. For Eric Gender and Kevin Coleman, I'm Frank Granito. We'll see you tomorrow on Nutmeg Sports.